Meet the sports diehards. Once sparkling spring chickens, these oldies but goodies have been able to dodge the firm grasp of Father Time to extend their time in the sports they love. Some choose greener pastures to gently roll their careers to a stop, while others are pounded into submission. Whatever the case, they're as inspiring as they are insane. Their minds may be sprightly, but their bodies can't hide from the truth. Some guys just don't know when to quit. And then there are some guys that are so good, they just don't have to. On ice, there was one man who defied logic, able to play professional hockey for over half a century. Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe, spent 26 years in the NHL, 25 of which with the Detroit Red Wings, before spending his final season with the Hartford Whalers, where he played with sons Mark and Marty. Between 1946 and 1971, Howe was a 4-time Stanley Cup champion and 6-time MVP, before joining the WHA between 1973 and 1979, winning the scoring title at age 46. He returned to the NHL for one season in 1980, ending his career with 2,589 points in 2,421 games. Howe retired at age 51, but managed one appearance in the IHL at age 69, making him the only hockey player to play in 6 different decades. Meanwhile, when the ice thaws and the surfboards come out, there is one wise water god who rides the waves better than anyone else. Between 1990 and 2015, Kelly Slater was ASP World Tour champion a record 11 times, including 5 straight between 1994 and 1998. An icon of the sport, the Cocoa Beach, Florida native is the all-time tour leader in wins and is the oldest ever champion, having taken the title at 39 years of age.
There's nothing I'd rather do than surf. And so, I mean, I literally wake up every day and look at the maps on the whole world and think, I can go anywhere, where can I go? So it's, you know, it's a real luxury at this time in my life to have that opportunity. But, you know, at some point I'll probably get married and have kids, and I won't be able to do that. I won't still be the selfish pro surfer that I am, and, you know, things will change, you know. Right now I'm allowed to put all my energy into what I do, and that's probably why I've had so much success.
Coming up, like their fine wine, Italian footballers get better with age. Italy is a country where it's rarely out with the old and in with the new. That's because Italians recognize that some things just get better with age. Their cheese gets better with age. Their wine, that gets better with age too. And it seems, so do their football players. With most of their stadiums stuck in the same state they were in after the nation hosted the World Cup in 1990, Italian football has balked at buying into a youth movement that seems to have worked well for everyone else. Case in point, in 2015, the Serie A ranked second only to Turkey in the list of oldest leagues in Europe, with the average age of their teams at 27.1, followed by Russia, Cyprus, and England. Meanwhile, the oldest team in Europe in 2015 was Chievo Verona, with an average age of 30.6, well ahead of 4 teams tied for second. Opting for older players means many of Italy's brightest stars leave the country in search of regular game time, while the rest, like their cheese and wine, simply age gracefully. Some of their oldest players are found on defence, with former AC Milan great Alessandro Costacurta hanging up the boots at 41 years, 25 days, and former centre-back Pietro Vercawood retiring at 41 years and 10 days. And then there was Paolo Maldini, who called it a career at 40 years, 339 days, but not before winning 26 trophies in 25 seasons with AC Milan, including 5 Champions League titles, and winning Best Defender at the UEFA Club Football Awards at 39 years of age. The man was an elegant machine.
But there is just few players like Maldini, players like this who can stay so long at the highest level for more than 20 years. It's unbelievable.
Meanwhile, in Rome, there is one player that is as eternal as the city he comes from, the city he represents. Francesco Totti has spent his entire career with AS Roma and is considered to be the team's greatest ever player. Between 1992 and 2015, he appeared in 743 matches, scoring 299 goals and assisting on 187 others. He's a Serie A and World Cup winner and a modern-day Roman legend. Totti further cemented his status among the football immortals on September 30th, 2014, when he became the oldest player to score in a Champions League match against Manchester City just days after his 38th birthday.
Francesco Totti can be considered a sort of immortal player from certain points of view. His physical and mental condition, along with his technique and natural skills, make him a player able to make the difference on any occasion and at any age.
Buffon himself knows a thing or two about playing well into his prime, having set the record for most appearances with the Italian national team.
What I do hope to do is to make myself available and play high-level matches and keep performing at a high level. Then we'll see whether it will be 10, 20, 30 or 2 more games. We'll see.
A World Cup winner with Totti in 2006, it's Buffon's compatriot who holds the record for oldest World Cup winner, keeper Dino Zoff. Zoff captained the Azzurri to a 3-1 victory over West Germany at the 1982 World Cup, raising the winner's trophy at 40 years, 4 months and 13 days. The nation's success from their elderly athletes extends to other sports, with archer Ilario Di Buo winning silver at the 2008 Beijing Olympics as a 51-year-old, and driver Luigi Fagioli becoming the oldest person to ever win a Formula One race, taking the 1951 French Grand Prix at 53 years, 22 days. When is the best time to call it a career? Is it when you're at the peak of your performance, leaving things on a high? Or is it when you can barely get out of bed and are forced to leave things on a low? Some ride a streak of success with the hopes it turns into years before turning the lights out, while others simply fade to black a mere fraction of their once immense selves. For Los Angeles Laker legend Kobe Bryant, it's a little bit of both.
If I can play, I'll play. If I can't, I won't.
In 2013, 34-year-old Kobe Bryant was averaging 38.6 minutes a game, second in the league, before tearing his Achilles against the Golden State Warriors. Time already wasn't on his side, and now neither was his body. But that didn't stop the Lakers from signing Kobe to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract, ensuring he'd play 20 years with the same club, the most in NBA history. More injuries meant Kobe became the league's highest-paid spectator, playing just 6 games in 2013-14, averaging just 13.2 points per game, and another 35 in 2014-15, where he averaged 22.3 points per game. So with the injuries mounting, Kobe made the painful decision to announce his retirement at the end of the 2015-16 campaign, ending one of the most illustrious careers the game has ever witnessed.
Kobe was someone I just always wanted to kind of be like and play like, and you know, and then just being a competitor, you know, he just like took me to that next level and understanding how important the competition is, and just have a willingness to never say, you know, to never die.
He was chasing to be the greatest Laker. He was chasing to be the greatest that's ever played in the NBA. And I think that because of that commitment, because of his work ethic, he achieved a lot of what he set out to achieve.
Bryant won 5 NBA titles and is a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. A league MVP in 2008, Kobe is 3rd all-time in regular season and postseason scoring, and is the Lakers' all-time leader in points, having scored 81 against Toronto in 2006, the 2nd highest game total ever. The decision came 5 days after scoring just 4 points and going a career-low 1 for 14 shooting in a game versus Golden State. The writing was on the wall and in the local LA newspaper, where he made it official. My heart can take the pounding, my mind can handle the grind, but my body knows it's time to say goodbye. Fittingly, his first game after the announcement came in Philadelphia, where he was born and raised.
I wanted to do it at home in front of the Laker fans and so forth. And looking at the schedule, I was like, you know, I can't wait 2 weeks. You know, I'm not the most patient man in the world still. And when I had my mind made up, I said, I don't want to go on a road trip and wait 2 weeks and have to stand in front of you guys and, you know, and lie about not having my mind made up. But the fact that the first road game is here in Philadelphia was really just the icing on the cake for it.
It was a bittersweet farewell to Philly, scoring 20 points in a 103-91 loss, handing the 76ers their first win of the season after 18 straight losses. Shooting just 7 for 26, the game helped support many of Kobe's detractors who felt he waited too long to call it quits. But it also cemented another notion, that it's really hard to make a legend realize he's just one of the guys. After the break, beating a career into submission. In a sport where the goal is to beat the living daylights out of your opponent, you'd think boxing and longevity really wouldn't go hand in hand. But in a couple of cases, they do just that. He's an author, an entrepreneur, even a preacher.
Anyone can say you're my woman and you're my girlfriend, but it takes a real man to say, I'll marry you. Would you please join hands?
But he's best known as one of the heaviest hitters the world of boxing has ever seen. Big George Foreman was an intimidating force of nature over the course of his 30-year professional career. Standing 1.93 meters with a reach of 2.03 meters, Foreman was a scary old-school slugger. Foreman won heavyweight gold at the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City before turning pro in 1969, where he became heavyweight champion of the world twice. Once in 1973, and then again as a 45-year-old in 1994. That knockout win against 27-year-old Michael Moorer made him the oldest heavyweight champion in boxing history. Foreman made 2 successful title defenses during his first stint as world heavyweight champion before battling it out with Muhammad Ali in 1974.
I'm so fast, man, I can run through a hurricane and don't get wet. When George Foreman meets me, he'll pay his debt. I can drown a drink of water and kill a dead tree. Wait till you see Muhammad Ali.
Known as the Rumble in the Jungle, Ali sent Foreman to the canvas in the 8th round in a heavyweight tilt that transcended the sport itself.
You're a part of sports history, and it was on the scene, and every year I'm having to talk about it since the 10th year, and it comes alive again in me, and it tells me how important the event really was and how happy I am to be a part of it. Too bad I lost, but hey, sour grapes, you know, can't win them all. Every year I watch the fight again, and I keep thinking I'm gonna win.
Foreman never was given a rematch, claiming that Ali was dodging him despite having given title opportunities to Joe Frazier and Ken Norton.
Well, I think that whenever you get a champion like champions that you speak about, a past champion, you're gonna get a lot of contenders because certain people never did hurt anybody. He'd leave them on their feet and dance, and the guys would be following him all around the ring still after the fight, be screaming they won. But after I fought people, nobody followed me around hollering, I'll get you the next time I want to rematch.
Retiring in 1977, Foreman returned to the ring 10 years later to raise money for a youth center he had created, and he eventually ended his career at 48 years of age after losing a controversial eliminator bout for the right to face WBC champion Lennox Lewis.
It was a special time for boxing, and I really miss all of that excitement in the heavyweight division. It's not there, but there's hope that around the corner, we're gonna have another champion who will excite the sport again. Maybe another Muhammad Ali.
I had to break the news to my wife. I had to tell everybody I'm an alien. I'm of the world. I'm of the world, but I'm not from the world.
This is Bernard Hopkins. Contrary to whatever he's telling his wife, Hopkins is not an alien, but rather the oldest boxing champion in the history of the sport. 2011, the former middleweight turned light heavyweight, because it's harder to keep the weight off as you get older, broke Foreman's oldest champion record when he beat Canadian Jean Pascal for the WBC title at the age of 46. In 2013, Hopkins celebrated his 48th birthday by beating up Travis Cloud. And in 2014, it was 2004 Olympian Beibut Shumanov's turn.
He can't match his high school diploma with a PhD. Now it's great to have a high school diploma to start on. Got the foundation. But certain jobs, you can't come in and build them with that paper in your hand. He's facing a professor, just happened to be the alien.
The alien came good once again, becoming the oldest boxer in history to unify titles in a weight division at age 49. Hopkins, who's also known as the Executioner and B-Hop, lost his title at the end of 2014 to Russian boxer Sergei Kovalev. But despite being knocked around over the years, he has a pretty clear idea as to when to finally call it quits.
The only way I will retire, if I can, physically I cannot do what I've been doing for 20 years respectfully. Respectfully. I will always respect my name, my legacy, and all the work that I have done in 2 decades. So once that diminishes to the point where 1% out of 100 I see that is diminished, I don't need to see 50%, it's too late then. 1% of 100, then I go. Then I will resign, but not retire.
Faster, higher, stronger.
Power that one.
This motto of the Olympic Games describes those athletic attributes needed to reach the podium and fulfill a lifelong dream. It also describes those athletic attributes that dwindle with time. But some have made athletics a lifelong activity, able to compete when most of us can barely get out of bed. Take the oldest ever Olympian, Swedish shooter Oskar Swan, who competed in 1920 at the age of 72 years, 281 days. At the 2012 Games in London, it was equestrian rider Hiroshi Hoketsu who represented the over 70s, having finished 40th in the dressage at the age of 71. London came milliseconds short of having another defier of time make an Olympic appearance, American Dara Torres. At the 2012 US Summer Olympic Trials, a then 45-year-old Dara Torres finished 4th in the 50-meter freestyle, just 0.09 seconds from second place Cara Lynn Joyce. But only the top two advanced, which meant Torres was out.
I was bummed. You know, I was hoping to see it too. It's hard for me to see the scoreboard that far away, so I was kind of squinting. It took a little while to realize, you know, that I had gotten fourth. But yeah, you know, it's disappointing. But like I said to my coach earlier, you know, there's nothing else I could have done. I did everything I could, you know, going into that race.
Giving her everything meant appearing in 5 straight Summer Olympics between 1984 and 2008, the only American swimmer to ever do so. And when she made the team in 2008, she became the oldest American to achieve the feat, booking her ticket to Beijing at 41. Torres became the oldest swimmer to ever medal at the Games when she took home 3 silvers in 2008, giving her 4 medals from each podium, or 12 overall. Still to come, the ideal sports for dreamers. As you get older, there are some sports that just become harder to pull off without pulling something. But for those looking to rekindle the childhood desire to become a sports professional, there are some age-friendly hobbies that could transform a mere mortal into a world champion. It's been around for 10,000 years and is historically used for hunting and combat, but archery has been considered an ideal sport for those still dreaming of becoming an Olympian without having been serious about the whole dream thing until later on in life. A high-profile example of this was Oscar-winning actress Geena Davis, who took up the sport at age 40, only to narrowly avoid making the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. In archery, mental focus, patience, and attention are as important as upper body strength, meaning sometimes the older, the better. And then there's the sport that involves a fair share of walking, some moments of talking, and the odd ride in a cart. Golf embraces all age groups, and with plenty of practice, you can go from couch potato to Pro Tour regular, and maybe even win yourself a coveted major. The oldest major winner on the men's side is Jack Nicklaus. Sure, he took up the sport at age 10, but he managed to take the 1986 Masters 36 years after he first picked up a putter. And when you think the oldest PGA Championship winner was Julius Boros at 48 years, 4 months and 18 days, and Sam Snead won on the PGA Tour at 52 years, 10 months and 8 days, the hope is slim, but there's hope for us all. Now has never been a better time to be an aging athlete. Because sports science has turned nutrition into an integral part of training. And with advances in medicine, injuries that once threatened careers altogether are simply resolved arthroscopically, meaning competition is never that far away. Compound that with the massive financial motivators, and athletes with long-term contracts continue to cash in long after their bodies have checked out. Ultimately, you may outrun your opponents, but you can never outrun Father Time. Hence, it's best to find joy in the journey. And that is the truth.